All right, May 21st, still Enduro month, leg day, baseline day, bike calorie climb. I like to think a fan favorite here, maybe from a personal standpoint, it's a fan favorite. I thoroughly enjoy this, not just from like doing it myself, but from a trainer's perspective, watching this one. There's just so much to learn on an individual level from our standpoint. And not all, baselines are typically just, the perception is just the physical side of them. But, anytime you're pushing yourself to attempt to maybe set a new personal best, the mental side of things comes into play very large. And I think a lot of you guys know that. And I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people tend to bounce certain days, they skip certain days, they just don't like the anxiety or the pressure that comes with it. And again, I understand that. But at the end of the day, like, we're trying to just get better, and it's really hard to continue to get better after a certain duration of time. If you don't know what you're ultimately capable of. And the more you do this, I can tell you from personal experience, just the easier it becomes. Like, I care very little about literally what anybody thinks when it comes to working out of me. And over the years, I've become pretty accustomed to just walking in. As lot of you guys I see at 8:30 and 9:40, like, I don't even know what the day is anymore. I just show up pretty blindly at this point. And if it's the calorie climb on that day when I walk in, then like, so be it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna put my best foot forward. And see what happens. I'm going to do my best not to cut it short, and I'll just, when I'm done, I'll just open up my notepad, write down how I did, and just see what I did prior. And I hope it's really close, if not better. And it works really well. And, at the end of the day, I don't put a lot of thought into it outside of just knowing that working out is always better than not working out. And I know if I want to continue to improve, or at least give myself the opportunity to improve, I need to show up and do these things. So I hope a lot of people show up to this. Watching the video does give you an advantage, to say the least, and I'll talk about that here in a second. But if you don't know what the calorie climb is, you go up by, it's an EMOM setup. Every minute on the minute, you just go up by 1 calorie, and you just go until you can't finish the calorie count for whatever minute it is that you are on. And the only thing I really have to say to this, there's two main points. Obviously, the first few minutes are incredibly boring and tedious. I think, we all know that at this point. Minute 1, you have to do 1 calorie. Minute 2, you're doing 2 calories. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. Like, those first few minutes, handful of minutes, are very calm in terms of the output. But this baseline does ramp up really fast. And usually it goes from like 1 minute, like, you're like, all right, I'm good, to the next minute where all of a sudden you lose 4 or 5 extra seconds on 1 calorie. Some of you guys probably like 7 or 8 seconds on 1 calorie. And all of a sudden, that rest, you kind of like flip, and the threshold is hit in terms of how much time you need to recover and go again. And it just goes from 0 to 100, just like that. So if you've done this in the past, it's definitely helpful to kind of know where that threshold or that line is on an individual level. But I can tell you the first 5, 6, 7 minutes, depending on who you are and how proficient you are on the bike, don't waste any extra energy at all. Like, you guys should just as calm as possible. I would urge you to use the trickle in these minutes for sure. Whatever ATP and energy stores that you use up on these kind of meaningless rounds, you can't get that back. Like, it's not coming back at all, and it will be a detriment in the back end of this workout, whether you believe it or not. Like, that's just how the body operates. So rule 1, don't waste any energy. Rule 2, which I think is huge and goes back and piggybacks on the mental side of these things. And I'm a huge proponent of this. And we've kind of, as a trainers, we've talked about this, until we're blue in the face amongst ourselves and to you guys, whether it's to the group or the individual. Say you're on minute 10 and, you're finishing the 10 calorie round, right? And you finish a 10 calorie round at the 58 second mark. And you already know in your head, like, there is no chance that I'm finishing 11 calories in the next minute. And the majority of people, and I've watched it hundreds of times, just quit, and they don't even try the next round, which is crazy to me. Like, I understand the logic behind not trying the next round, but more times than I can count, I have seen people finish the next round. Like, sometimes you shock yourself of what you actually have left in the tank when your back's kind of pushed against the wall and you have no time to spare. Most people tend to have a little bit of burst left in them to get that one more round, or at minimum, at least you get 7, 8, 9, 10 of those 11 calories, and you add that to your score, which is really important later on. And it's not only important from like a data standpoint, from understanding where your capabilities lie, but from a mental standpoint, it hardens you over time, and it gets you used to just coping with failure, which is what fitness is all about. Like, I know it seems like people, fitness is like hop-de-doo, loop-de-loo, clap, 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 cheer, 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 fun, fun, fun. But like, at the end of the day, the goal is to get better. And you can't do that if we have a glaring weakness when it comes to kind of the failure side of things, right? Like, again, like I've said a million